Every morning, the countdown begins for the markets with meticulous research and analysis designed to help you capitalize on the trading day. Beaming live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studio.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. Thursday morning, we are coming to you live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studios. Enough and more to talk about. Not very much at a broader level, but in terms of single stocks, well, it's going to be really a long list of names, which we will get to shortly. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleague Surbhi and Nigel. Guys, good morning.
Hi, morning Prashant, morning Nigel. Morning. Even at a broader level, there's so much of tariff joy suddenly in the air. It's, across Europe, across Asia once again this morning.
None for us.
None for us. We're still waiting and watching. But yeah, I think that's the overall tide that seems to be lifting all boats, at least last 2 days.
Good things take long to come, if you want to sound optimistic. So we'll have to wait by for that. But this 15% tariff and the way it's being accepted by global markets is telling you the kind of situation we are in terms of global markets. A few months ago, 15%, the markets would be jittery. Now 15, 20%, that's beautiful. Grab it and look ahead. That seems to be the case.
Nigel, art of the deal.
Yeah.
Start very high and then
absolutely.
Don't be desperate and just...
I think, Prashant, it's like when you tell your wife, right, I'm coming home in the wee hours of the morning. You reach home at 12 midnight. She's like, wow, well done.
All right, well, let's just quickly run you through what you need to know as we start another fresh session. So, U.S. markets are doing just fine. I mean, there's no problem. S&P 500, new highs, basically. I mean, 10, 12, 13, who's counting, right? But for this year, S&P 3/4, NASDAQ 0.6, the Russell 2000, a 1.5% pop. So that's the picture. WIX, the fear index in the US continues to decompress. 15.4 or so is where the CBOE WIX finally left off at. As far as the 10-year is concerned, it was down about 4 basis points, 4.38. Dollar index, flattish, 97.2 or so is where that was. And that's it. I mean, in terms of macro markets, oil prices barely budged. So there was not very much in that sense. The Financial Times yesterday evening reported, this was around the time that Europe was closing, that US and EU were closing in on a 15% tariff deal. No real confirmation. It was, of course, Peter Navarro, who's one of the top trade hawks within the Trump administration, who the president apparently listens to very closely, rebuffed this later. Said, well, nothing of this sort. But it kind of gives you an indication of maybe some talks and the number there of 15%. We'll see, because it's these are trade agreements, actually. We should not call them trade deals, but kind of almost like handshake deals, and then details will have to work out, etc. Trump revealed a new AI, and I was talking about this yesterday, right? That interaction with David Sachs. Trump revealed a new AI action plan. I mean, essentially, the idea is how can America extend its and sort of widen its lead in AI supremacy. And of course, the main competitor here is China. He said many things, and we'll probably, through the course of the show, play out some sound bites, etc. But he emphasized close collaboration with Silicon Valley. He kind of also said, we're gonna let this fly. Instead of trying to regulate AI, ethical AI, and putting guardrails around it, we're going to let it fly. And then when we have the lead, then we look at regulation, etc. So it's important because think about what is leading the U.S. markets higher. It's basically this entire AI theme. It's singular in what is happening there. Magnificent Seven, etc. It all kind of boils down to artificial intelligence, if you can sort of call that the motherlode. And this is what Trump said. Now, as far as tariffs are concerned, he kind of sort of posted, and I'll just quickly read this out. He said, I will only lower tariffs if a country agrees to open its market, if not much higher tariffs. Japan's markets are now open for the first time ever. USA business will bloom. The point is, access to markets is something that Trump and his team has talked about with regards to India as well. So is this a sort of a statement indirectly pointed at India, countries like India? We'll have to wait and watch. But, I mean, I'm just putting that out because we are yet to strike one. We reported, of course, earlier that a deal before the 1st of August is unlikely. Yesterday, the market for the first time, and for the last 2 days, we've been saying, are we starting to see the first signs of reversal? Day before yesterday didn't work out. Yesterday, maybe it did, right? Nifty made a higher high. Now, the levels don't change very much, but 25,255 is the first resistance, the recent high. And above that, the 61.8% retracement of the entire decline stands at 25,369. So these are two levels on the upside for the Nifty. Support stands at the low of 24,882. And then the 40-day exponential moving average comes in at about 25,050. For the Nifty Bank, we've climbed back above the 20-day moving average yesterday with what we've seen. We need to see a decisive close back above 57,286. This is a level we put out for the last couple of days. And support for the Nifty Bank comes into this recent swing low, which is 56,690, 56,700 roughly is that level. GIFT Nifty will come up on your screen, gives you a quick sense. 45 points higher. But as I said, I mean, if you're looking for the moves, the excitement, all of that stuff, right? It's basically in single stocks. And, some stuff up, some stuff down as well prominently, which we will get to in just a bit. Surabhi.
Absolutely. And I'll come to single stocks in a second, but it's a big, wide tidal wave of green across Asia this morning, building up on gains that we saw yesterday. So this whole tariff joy, tariff optimism, it's spread across continents. I mean, we saw that in European markets yesterday, the way the US markets closed out yesterday. Of course, they had good tech earnings like Alphabet as well, though Tesla missed the mark. But look at the Asian screens this morning. Hang Seng is up 0.5%. That's not the story. The story is Japan. The Japanese markets are rocking away. The topics, the Nikkei itself, Nikkei 225, these markets are up 2% as we speak. The topics hit another high today, I mean a record high that is. There's good news coming in for South Korea as well. South Korean markets are up about 1%, and because that economy has avoided a technical recession, second quarter GDP came in above estimates at 0.5% growth, so that was good news. By the way, this optimism, this tariff optimism is showing up in the currency markets as well. A lot of Asian currencies have managed to bounce back a little bit over the last 24 hours. Starting with, of course, the yen itself. The yen had a big move yesterday. This morning, for a brief second, actually, it broke above the 146 handle as well versus the USD. So that charge continues. The yen, not only the yen, the yuan has been rising as well. The offshore yuan actually has risen to the strongest level since November of last year. The offshore yuan at about 7.149. Now you can see it was 7.144 actually in earlier morning trades. So currencies are higher, equity markets are higher. For us, the question is how much of this global sentiment is going to rub off on the Nifty. At least yesterday there was some sign of that because we finally had that close above 25,200 to at least begin with. The flows position is still not inspiring. FPIs are still selling this market and perhaps still looking at other markets in Asia. Look at the flows yesterday. A slam dunk of 4,200 crores net selling coming through, 4,300 crores of buying. And of course, a lot of this is skewed by a lot of the large block trades that are happening. But net FPIs are selling and it's being offset by DII buying, at least for now. Now let's come to stocks. We have good news coming in from Infosys. And the key question is whether Infosys's beat will inspire further confidence in the rest of the IT pack. Maybe as a tactical trade, will the IT names come in and support the Nifty and take it higher today or not? Infosys has beaten estimates on the top line. It's the best-in-class growth coming in, constant currency growth of 2.6%, well ahead of estimates. The guidance has also been increased, as was widely expected, from 0 to 3%. Now it's 1 to 3%. Margin, you can say, maybe a couple of basis points shy of estimates. The company is saying it's seeing traction across financial services, especially in North America. And it's also, giving positive commentary on AI, saying that it's seeing new revenue streams possibly opening up because of AI in enterprise. That's one stock. The other one to watch out for is going to be IEX for sure. Market coupling, after months and months of back and forth, is finally a reality, at least in a phased manner. That could spell slight trouble for IEX. We'll get to that with our experts in just a bit. And coming back to earnings, it's a full slate today. We have to digest earnings that came in yesterday, for instance, Tata Consumer, and there's a big margin compression for Tata Consumer. Let's see if the market can digest that. Dr. Reddy's, America's been a little weak for them. Then there is SBI Life, there's Bajaj Finance, there's Nestle today. So plenty of numbers, big numbers to watch out for in today's earnings action as well. So busy Thursday coming up. Nigel.
Well, that's right. It's going to be important to see whether or not the Nifty can drive home the advantage, because starters indicate that we could start off in the green, which is going to be an important mark. The question is, can we get past the 20 DMA? It's going to be extremely crucial because today is the weekly expiry as well that we'll be working out. So the start in the green, that's going to be important. And Infosys, that's going to lead the way, at least in the initial part of trade. And if we pull up the intraday chart, you'll see that yesterday in the last few minutes, some someone sensed that there was a disappointment. They either sold, they added some short positioning as well. So that's going to give that cushion actually to Infosys to see a bit of a bounce in today's trading session. That's going to be an important one to track because the kind of slide that we saw in the last 5 minutes of trade. Moving to what the FIs did, in yesterday's trading session. It's important because they added some short position yet again. But in yesterday's trade, on the whole, you did see there was some covering both on the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank. So both those two indices moved higher. The Nifty Bank clearly has taken up leadership, and that in fact did end higher in yesterday's trade. Moving to the F&O market then, the positioning that you have in yesterday's trade, there was some short positioning that did take place as well. Just take a look at that. Some shorts getting covered out in yesterday's trade, both on index futures as well as on stock futures. In the previous trading session, we made this point that there was some addition, on the short side, which yesterday resulted in some covering. And that's how they positioned yet again. Shorts at close to around 85%, long positioning at around 15%. Now, besides the shorts that got covered in yesterday's trading session, there were some puts that were written. And because of that, the PCR has moved up to around 1.15 odd. Because we saw aggressive writing yesterday on the put side. And after a while, in an uptrending market, you saw some put writing, which is telling you the bulls now, they're trying to defend the 25,000 odd mark. And we had some writing, 25,200 put, 25,150 put, both of them saw aggressive writing. And given that today's expiry, that's going to be the important factor to track. Even if you're looking at the positioning from the FIs, in yesterday's trade, both the FIs as well as the clients, there was some put writing that we saw. So putting everything together, we'll bring up a couple of levels. On the upside, the 20 DMA, extremely important level. If you can get past that mark, the bears are going to be, running for cover because the call writing has been very aggressive. And the recent low, that becomes a reference point. So for now, you've got roughly around this 450 to 500 point band that you're working with. The Nifty Bank, that's taken up leadership, and that's holding above the 20 as well as the 50 DMA. So, that's the important leader that we are seeing that continues to hold above the 20 DMA, 200 points away from here. The Reliance Industries stock, that's going to be important because that's corrected a little bit from the top. But on the longer trajectory, the street is quite bullish out there. Now I'll keep an eye out on this resistance mark, the 20 and the 50 DMA. You'll want to see Reliance Industries gradually move towards that mark, which is around 3% away from current levels. So we'll keep an eye out on that factor as well. In terms of stocks that we're going to be looking at, well, Tilaknagar Industries, we told you that source-based information indicated that they could be making their entry into the whiskey market. That's happened because they've taken Imperial Blue. I'll keep an eye out on the reaction on Tilaknagar Industries because of the run that we have seen. And also I'll keep an eye out on United Spirits because, suddenly you have a domestic player that's entering the whiskey space. So both those two stocks on the radar for today. But driving home the initial uptick is going to be the important point to track.
No, absolutely. Nigel, so important stocks and, Surabhi mentioned IEX. Is that going to be the big accident of the day as we start today? It looks like it, right? I mean, the coupling order has come more coming through a little later, but that should be at least 10-15% straight off the bat. We'll see.